Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Ashworth and I am in NoodleTools and I'm going to talk about note cards and outlines. So you get to note cards and outline in the same spot in the note cards tab up here, and in order to toggle between them, it's really actually very easy. One is on the left and that's the note card section, and then your outline section is on the right. If I don't want to view my outline right now, or if I want to kind of slide it away, you simply drag and move the outline over, or you could pull it out if you want to really focus on building that out. If you want to make it go away altogether, there's a little button at the top, this right arrow, and it will collapse the pane. And then to expand the pane, I click the left arrow. All right, let's talk about the note cards for now. In this view, this is called the tabletop view. I have this bird's eye panel that will show me around the tabletop. The tabletop is actually really large, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I can snag this pile and I can move it kind of out of my view, but notice it's still here and it shows up as this little orange blob in the bird's eye view. Don't forget this, because you might accidentally grab something and move it out of the pane and you're like, where did that note card go? Use the bird's eye view to your advantage and just slide it around and you'll be able to locate those items in this large, like I said, it's a very large table, and here it is over here. Now I'm going to move it back over to the top to get it back into the far left-hand corner, because I want to show you what happens when I add a new note card. Here it is in the top left-hand corner. As you can see, there are two items in here, and you can tell because it looks like a little pile. We'll talk about piles in a second. I just want to show you how to build a new note card. So click New at the top left-hand corner, and now you see a lot of options. Let's not overwhelm ourselves. Let's start at the top. So you start with the title, and I'm just going to call this one CRISPR 3. And in the source section, I have the option to select a source or leave it blank, leave it at select source. My recommendation to you is that you will have already imported and added all of your sources to your source tab first. Obviously, you could do that later, but it doesn't make much sense to me as to why you would do that later. So let's just say that you've already added it. And guess what happens? When you've already added it, you get to see them. So these are the ones that I added before, and I'm just going to add all of my CRISPR notes to this one. And now I have some options. I have a direct quotation section with all of these editing options. I have a paraphrase summary section, and I have my ideas. Your teacher will probably want you to mix and match, not just focus on everything being a direct quotation. Well, I like to add the quotations. Let's just say this is my perfect quotation from this article on CRISPR. Okay, so here I have my quotation, and then in my own words, I would then paraphrase this or summarize it. It's really optimal to use this because otherwise sometimes you'll forget what the context was of the quote that you use. And so including some kind of a summary is always going to help you out. The paraphrase or summary section is especially helpful when you want a different option than just putting a direct quote. And it's a great place to summarize material so it's not taken out of context from a quote. And then finally, down at the bottom, you have this original thinking area. This is something that it's very nice. NoodleTools gives you some tips on what would you want to put in here. These are some ideas that you could use. Down at the bottom, you have a section for tags. If you want to add tags, you can just type these in. Let's just say that I want this to be in the CRISPR section of my note cards. And then later on down the road, I can select tags. Tags are useful. They're very good for being able to organize your information. Finally, up at the top, don't forget to include a page number if you have pulled that quotation or paraphrase from a specific area. Your teacher will want to know where that came from. It's always good to have that information handy. Click Save and Close, and now look at what happened. This new note card is piled directly on top of the existing pile, and that's going to be tricky for you if you don't see that. So what you'll do is you'll just grab it and move it away. Remember that this is an input point. It's basically where all of your new note cards will show up. And so moving your piles and your other note cards out of the way to allow for those new note cards to show up is really going to be very helpful. So let's say I like this note card and I'm going to change it up. This pile is selected right now. Do you see the orange rectangle? So I want to select this instead and not select this. To unselect, you have to click on it again. So I just have this note card and then I want to change its color. So I'm going to change it to orange. And now it shows up as orange, which is nice. And then I can add a tag if I want it. And this is showing up in the CRISPR tag because that's the only tag that's the tag that I applied to this particular one. Now let's say, for example, I want to make a new pile. I would need some more note cards here, but if I wanted to make a new pile, I would just click Manage Pile. And then I would say, I want to create a new pile for anything that's in this area. So I'll just say, new pile is called body, because this is my first body paragraph. That's the way I want it to go into my outline. And then once I'm done, I click submit, and it just popped it in that corner again because it's going to assume that any new note cards are going to want to go in that body one, but I'm just going to move it back out of the way. If you want to know how to delete, notice I have this selected. This would delete the entire pile. If I want to, let's do it for this one. Unselect that one. So I have 2 in here. If I want to delete this, it would delete the entire selected note cards piles. And I'm going to say, no, actually, I just wanted to delete one of them. So you'd have to expand it first, and that will show you, ooh, all of these are selected. So I don't want to select this one. I just want to select that one. And that is how you could delete one card from a pile. Now that we're done with that, let's talk about that outline. So the outline may come in handy when you're organizing your thoughts. And in order to get these things into this outline, all I did for this first one is I dragged and dropped. So I'm going to say I want to add a new topic. And my new topic is going to be body paragraph 1. And I'm going to move body 1 pile into this section. And all I have to do that is drag it. And notice there's a little red X. But when I pull it into this section right here, now I see a little green check mark. And that CRISPR 3 note card is going to go into body paragraph 1. Now say, for example, I wanted these things to move up and down. If I click on it, I can actually say, you know what, I wanted this to go down and be after this one. And then of course I can go in and edit things by clicking on them and changing them. I double clicked on this one to retitle it. I can double click on all of these and I can retitle them this way. And it's actually pretty easy to do. And then if I want to trash anything, I would have to select it first and then I'd be able to trash it by clicking trash. And it says, are you sure you want to remove this? I'm like, no, actually, that was an accident. I want to keep that there. Now you have your outline. Let's talk about exporting. All of my options went away when I pulled this over, so I have to click more. When I pull it back, I see all of them here. Now if I want to export, I will click the print button. And now I have the option to export to Google Docs. I can export the outline only. I can export the outline with note cards. And all of them will create Google Docs for me. So let's just show you what that looks like. If I click outline with note cards and I say I wanted to export it as a Google Doc, I'm going to include all of these items in the things that I want to have in my Google Doc. And when I click that, this is what my outline will look like. There we go. So that's just a good way to organize your stuff. And obviously in here now it's a Google Doc. I can go in and change things and edit and add things if I wanted to. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.